Here's your podcast script. The New York Times is reporting on what they're calling inside the CDC's mad scramble to meet Kennedy's demands, and a newly obtained cache of internal emails is giving us an unprecedented look at just how chaotic things got inside the nation's top public health agency in the early months of the Trump administration. Let's set the scene. It's February 14, 2025, Valentine's Day, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has been health secretary for less than 24 hours. Flu season is in full swing, and a bad one at that. The CDC had just reported 68 children dead from flu-related illness, 11 of them that week alone. 16,000 people had died overall, with 29 million reported cases and 370,000 hospitalizations. And in the middle of all that, Kennedy's press secretary called up the CDC and told them to pull every single ad promoting flu vaccines. All of it, social media, online campaigns, magazine buys, bus stop posters. Gone. A CDC communications staffer named Nicole Coffin got that call and immediately fired off an email to her supervisor, noting the request came, quote, directly from the secretary. Her boss, Kevin Griffiths, was alarmed enough to escalate it up the chain, warning that halting the campaign mid-outbreak presented significant reputational risk and could raise legal issues. That was just day one. The emails, which span from January through mid-August of 2025, were handed over to the Senate Health Committee by Dr. Deborah Oury, the agency's former chief medical officer. She told the Times she wanted to, quote, shine the light on public health decisions she considered dangerous. Senator Bernie Sanders posted the full emails publicly this week. What the messages reveal is a CDC that was constantly scrambling to satisfy demands from Kennedy's team, often on short notice, often on issues tied to vaccines and autism. At one point, agency employees were literally dispatched to a National Archives facility to dig through 28 boxes of historical documents, 60 years worth, about the Advisory Committee for Immunization Practices, the outside expert panel that guides vaccine policy. That errand was requested by Stuart Burns, described as Kennedy's point man inside the CDC director's office, who initially wanted the information the very next day. And the pressure wasn't just about vaccines. When Trump signed his executive order ending what he called radical DEI programs, CDC officials removed hundreds of web pages, including a massive public health data repository, because they might contain information about race or gender. Perhaps the most telling email came on August 19, from Kennedy's then Chief of Staff Matthew Buckham, who wrote to acting CDC Director Susan Menares, the same director who would be fired just days later, only 29 days after her Senate confirmation, demanding, quote, the absolute need for political review of major policy decisions at CDC. He signed off with Make America Great. Matt. Kennedy has been publicly defiant about all of this. He's called the CDC corrupt and said he came into the job, quote, to change the culture of a broken agency. His department did not respond to the Times' detailed questions about the emails. What this story makes clear is that career public health officials found themselves caught between a raging flu season and a new leadership team determined to reshape how and whether Americans get information about vaccines. That's the story behind the scramble, and the emails are now in the hands of Congress. Approximately 560 words lands right in the 3 to 5 minute range when read aloud at a natural pace.